and this is my manifesto because I'm not a guy. And we've been taught gender studies, which feminism, so there you go.
Never say that.
Okay. When I came to CSG, I had broken limbs. I was not confident about myself or what was around me. When I wasn't confident with who I was, I acted different around... Sorry. When I wasn't confident with who I was, I acted different around everyone that I knew. Because I was not confident, I did not know what my strengths were, and I only focused on my weaknesses and hid behind them like they were a shield. My past was something that I held on to, like it was something preventing an axe from cutting me down. My past was the only thing I knew, and it was safe for me, so I tried to stay with it for as long as possible. I was terrified of the future because it was so unknown to me. The day I stepped in the door of CSG without my parents, I walked alone with the burden of those dead and broken limbs. They weighed me down and made it hard for me to adjust within CSG. But once I started to make new friends, those parts were trimmed or healed. I became more confident with myself and what was around me. CSG helped clean me up and helped discover who I was while showing me my strengths and how to use them. I no longer hide behind my past or try to hold on to it. I stand in front of it, and it is no longer a prevention. It is a butterfly on a branch, free to come and go as it pleases. Before CSG, I did not know my values or what was most important to me. I knew that they were large... Skip a sentence. I knew that I loved my family and my friends, and that they were there to support me. I knew that they were a large part of my life, but I didn't truly know how much until I came to CSG and I no longer had them with me. The first month at CSG was really hard for me. I missed my parents and my friends, and I really wanted to go home. There was uncontrollable crying in class and in my bed. Jumping into a place I did not know with no one that I knew was a shock to me. It was overwhelming, and I didn't know how to handle it. Coming to CSG is the biggest change that has ever happened in my life. I grew up an only child on Asborough, a small island off the coast of Maine. I have never moved, nor have I changed schools. There's no need to when your parents own a business and your school is 100 kids K through 12, with a preschool on the island. Being separated from everything I knew, I learned that I needed my parents for support, and I learned how important my friends were to me, both at home and at CSG. I Skyped my parents every night if I could, and I talked to my friends at least once a week. Throughout the semester, I came to realize that family connections were the most important thing for me. I put down homework, I didn't take a shower, I did everything I could to talk to my parents. I knew before I left for CSG that I valued learning about the things that I loved and the things that I'm curious about. Being at CSG confirmed that learning about the world is something that I value and want to continue. I knew that I liked to have a me space and alone time because I was always outside with just my dog or on a bike ride down to the beach. Being at CSG, where there's 14 of us crammed into a small room, I needed to find my space. We had the yurt or the hallways, but people were always going in and out. It was about the first week that I decided to put a blanket up around my bottom bunk. I couldn't see out and no one could see in. My bunk was my own cave where I was alone, and it's where I stayed sane and I reflected. I think I might have skipped. Sorry. I found out new strengths and discovered one. Previously, I painted on and off at home, just for fun, making designs or a cartoon. Here at CSG, I painted for Coffee House to show how I was feeling accompanying a piece of writing that I read. It was then that I found myself able to express myself through art so I could let people know who I really was. I have enjoyed incorporating moods and messages with just a brush and paint on a piece of canvas. It was through that same piece of writing for Coffee House that I found I could write pieces of literature that could be impactful and meaningful not just to me, but for others. I was surprised to find that my writing could mean something to someone or just get someone thinking, even though I wrote it and they're just reading it. I had no clue that I could do that. I never thought I could. It amazes me how much one person can change and impact the world. While I've been at CSG, I have found out that I'm a much more confident person, and I've accepted the fact that change must happen. Challenge and change walk hand in hand, and you cannot avoid one without the other. To grow and to move forward in your life, you need to face challenges that you are handed and the challenges that you seek out. Change is what makes the world continue, and also the human race, as well as allowing individuals to evolve. Change is necessary to live. Renewal. The replacing or repair of something that is worn out, run down, or broken. Every time we change, even in a small way, we are renewed with a better or unbroken part. Throughout my life, I have changed many times and for many different reasons, but it is finding and realizing that renewal that has truly made the difference for me. The moon is old, nearly as old as the earth, and for me, it represents my family and overall my great-grandmother, Gigi, who died when I was 10. The moon represents knowledge, because my Gigi was old and wise, and because it means family with all of their experiences. The moon is long nights on the beach with friends and family, or sitting around a fire setting off lanterns into the sky after a long night of go-karting. The moon to me is my guardian angel, the one who is there in the night and day, and who looks out for my family and friends at all times. The moon is the brightly shining beacon in the dark that never leaves. In my painting, the tree represents me just as the moon represents my family. Just as the tree in my painting, I have grown and developed. I have always loved trees in general. They are graceful and withstanding, and even if they lose a part of themselves, they heal and keep growing. You could say I look up to trees because they're so hardy. The tree of life to me, means love in and around families. It means growth and repair. It means not losing hope when you have lost a part of who you are. The tree is a symbol of regrowth and determination, both of which I hope to gain and have started to gain throughout life, and most of all at CSG. For as long as I can remember, we have had honeysuckle crawling up my porch on a very old tree. Hummingbirds would come and hover in place while drinking the sweet red nectar. Many would come and drink from the same vine. The vine brought the birds together, just as love and family does. Honeysuckle reminds me of family and their never-wavering love. Honeysuckles remind me of love because, well, it is the typical red color associated with love, as well as bringing the birds together, and because they remind me of long hugs wrapping up around the house. Hummingbirds are so small, I have always wondered how they got by in life. My great-grandmother and I always had the little red plastic feeder with sugar water in it to feed the hummingbirds. We would sit by the window and wait until one came, only knowing by the distinct hum of their wings. We would both sit there and watch the bird for the few seconds it was there. It seems like every time one would land on the feeder and drink, it would look at the two of us with thanks and gratitude, and then it would fly away in a hurry as if late for something. Hummingbirds are so small, yet they're not scared to come up to a feeder when there are people looking at them. They are not afraid, and they take a risk. I think that hummingbirds may be thought as loyal because they give with their presence if you give them something. Hummingbirds remind me to appreciate the small things in life because we're always on the move, and they take even the smallest second to show gratitude. Praying mantids are my favorite insect. Let me just get that out there. They're so hard to find in the tall grass with their long green or brown bodies. Once I do, it seems like they don't try to get away, and instead they marvel at how high up they are, even though they can fly. Whether on the ground or in the air, it is hard to tell the difference between two of them. The only way that you can tell them apart, either by sight or personality, is spending time with them. Even though they may look all the same, each individual is very different and distinct, just as people are. This may seem silly talking about a bug, but an example of their personality is the difference between two mantids I had last year. The male was crazy and jumped all over the tank. He flew as much as he could, was always on the move, and he was always alert. He was really annoying. He was small and green and was a pain to handle. I also had a huge female. Praying mantids are about that big, the biggest, just putting that out there. So I had a huge female, and she was very pregnant, and it made it difficult for her to fly. But she was gentle, and she would slowly crawl up my arm, where she sat on my shoulder and watched the world around her. It showed me that every person is different, and no one is perfect. The dragonfly has been something that my mom and I have always looked for during the summer. I have seen many in my pond laying eggs and flying around, their wings reflecting light with no noise. They're rather creepy when they're in their pupa stage. They have long jaws and look like an alien from Men in Black. But they're beautiful when they leave that part of themselves behind. They remind me that people can start over and shed who they were before and become more beautiful. The roots of the tree represent the people around me and their connection with me and everything around me. Roots are where trees get nutrients, and they feed the entire tree. The roots are grounded and connected to every part of the tree through what they give it. Not only are they connected to the tree, but also the ground and everything in the ground. Connection, a relation between things where everything acts on and affects each other. This dog represents my dog that I've had since I was 4. She is my best friend and even like a little sister. She is part of my life and family, and we have always grown up together. Over the years, we have grown close. Every day when I get home from school, she is the head of the welcoming committee when I walk through the doors. When she could still get up on the couch, my parents would tell me that she would hop up on the back of the couch and look out the window, facing the road where I walk home. More times when it was nice out, she would sit at the end of our walkway and wait for me there. She's so sweet and only howls when left alone in the house. Right now, she's sitting in the car about to pee herself out of happiness to see me. My mother and I always waited for the robin to tell when it was spring. We would go about our day and then see a robin in the front yard with a big old worm in mouth and know that spring is sprung. I always loved watching robins in the yard, looking for worms hopping around the greening grass. It is the coolest thing, watching robins hatch from an egg to when they leave the nest. The trunk is what holds the entire tree up and makes it sturdy. The trunk is what makes it strong. Just like now, that is fact. It can't be changed. It stabilizes the whole tree because it is final. Intuition. a thing that one knows or considers, likely from feeling rather than conscious reasoning. Owls are graceful and can be very scary at times when they sound like a screaming woman in the middle of the night when you're alone in a tent. They can see the world in a 360-degree spectrum, which most cannot. They are protective and will dive bomb you when you act like an owl or get too close to their dwelling. I love owls because they're beautiful and they're like a night guardian that watches over everything, making sure nothing is in the wrong place. You do not get to see them often, so when you are able to see it, it is very exciting. Blue jays are loud and make a ruckus. You all know that. They spill the bird feed, but they are determined and always come back if you scare them away. For such a small bird to have that determination is amazing. Many people think that they are annoying and waste feed, but if you think about it, they are persistent and just keep coming back. Perhaps they do spill the bird feed, but you'll have nice flowers when they grow, and they may